Hi everyone, welcome back to the Digital Media in South Korea Studies. In this video, we're going to explore game studies in the age of digital Korea, including the history of the Korean digital game industries, online game culture, mobile gaming culture, introducing the culture's perspectives. Through this video, you will answer how has digital media influenced the perception of video games in South Korea, and what are the critical factors for the outcomes and development of online games. Korea has rapidly developed its digital games and the game industry since the late 1990s, when several developed countries, including the United States and Japan, continued to advance their console games in the 1990s. Korea suddenly started to develop online games based on the introduction and growth of high-speed internet services. Although the history of video games in the Korean context began in 1975, when the country's population started to play the Pong machine computer TV, called TV game. Until the end of the 1970s, electronic entertainment rooms, 전자 오락실, quickly spread around the country despite fierce opposition by conservative parents and the media in a somewhat confused society due to potential game addiction. The popularity of arcade games in 전자 오락실 had substantially grown, and the first generation of gamers in Korea started to enjoy video games with several arcade games in the late 1970s and the early 1980s. In the late 1990s, the Korean video games industries started to develop a new form of video games, which is online gaming, which became a turning point in gaming history. Since then, online gaming has rapidly grown and has enjoyed its status as the most important cultural form representing Korean digital culture. Due to the increasing role of online gaming in the digital economy and youth culture, online game firms have rapidly represented a symbolic cultural sector in the cultural industries in the early 21st century. As Korea has greatly developed local games and game industries, several media and game scholars have examined Korea's video games as a major academic subject. Although the history of the game fields in academia is relatively new, many theoreticians have analyzed local video games from diverse perspectives. In the next slide, we're going to explore the history of the Korean digital game industries. Korea's swift growth in the video game market has been unique in terms of the growth of its domestic online game industry, followed by the mobile game industry in 2010, the global penetration of local video games, both online and mobile games, and the degree to which its youth culture is embedded in these two games. Although Korea was a relative latecomer to the internet revolution and broadband services, it recognized the significance of video game development to its digital economy. Most of all, Korea has become one of the largest online game markets since the early 21st century. As in the United States and United Kingdom, during the 1990s, several Korean developers created digital games focusing on the multi-user dungeons, which are text-based online games in which a group of users simultaneously participates with a shared virtual world, typically a role-playing game. The local game market prior to 1996 was heavily concentrated on arcade games, while a few game developers created PC package games. However, Korea's video games mainly started with Nexon's Kingdom of the Winds, which is loosely based on Korean mythology and on a series of graphic novels by an artist named Kim Jin, the first MUD to include graphic content. Furthermore, Lineage, which was one of the most successful online games in the early stage of game development, officially launched in 1998. The video game market has substantially grown. In 1998, when Lineage started, online gaming was not significant in Korea's video game industry. However, the situation dramatically shifted, with several massively multiplayer online role-playing games, including Lineage 2, Iron, Blade, and Soul. Korea has penetrated the Western markets as well as the Asian markets, With the rapid growth of these well-made MMORPGs, the online games sector became the largest game segment in Korea, consisting of more than 90% of the market at the end of the 2000s. Although it decreases to 55.6% in 2014 due to rapid growth of mobile gaming, which accounted for 29.2% of the domestic video game market. In 2014, the gross market value of gaming, including console, handheld, online mobile arcade, PC bang, and PC games, grew to 10.6 billion in Korea in US dollar. Korea's online game market has been noticeable. The global market size in terms of sales of online games of Korea's video gaming accounted for 6.7% in 2014. However, within online gaming, Korean products consist of as much as 19.1%, only behind the Chinese market. Korea was the largest online game market in the world until 2008, when the Chinese online game market surpassed it to be the largest. The social cultural milieu surrounding video games has rapidly changed since the emergence of smartphones because mobile gaming has suddenly become a new driving force replacing console and online games in the global game market. In fact, two mobile games made by domestic game corporations in 2012, Anypang, and Candypang, swept the local market and the second largest video game market, only behind the online game market in 2013. Korea's mobile game market size accounted for 14.3% in the global market in 2014, only behind the Japanese mobile game market. So these are several key dimensions to the growth of the local video game market, such as supportive government policy, well-developed infrastructure, and enthusiastic local gamers. To begin with, Korean video games have been driven by the existence of a strong infrastructure, including broadband services, the entry and growth of PC bang, also known as internet cafe, and later the emergence of smartphones. For example, PC bang played a critical role in shaping the social cultural context and business for local online gaming. Totaling around only 3,000 in 1998, the number of nationwide PC bangs rose rapidly to 22,548 in 2001. Although the number of PC bangs has decreased in the early 2010 as people changed their major game platforms to smartphones. As mentioned, government policies can promote the growth of video game industry. The current government put a game industry at the center of culture policy as a major part of digital economy and culture because it wanted to develop communication business and information technologies to establish a high-tech industrial base. More specifically, in 2004, the current government created a long-term promotion plan of the game industry to support the digital game industry. Video games, online and mobile games are mainstream cultures in Korea. Young Koreans in their teens and 20s are especially likely to enjoy online games, although they are partially switching to mobile games with the rapid growth of multifunctional and speedy smartphones. Professional gamers have become national idols. Korea's online games are the primary part of youth culture because Korean youth enjoy games more than other activities. As online gaming can be accessed anytime from anywhere, online games have played a primary role as a crucial part of youth culture. As such, mainly due to its significance in the both global trade and youth culture, online gaming has become a symbol of Korea's cultural industry. Meanwhile, mobile game in the early part of 2010s has rapidly grown and gradually replaced online gaming due to the heavy use of smartphones in young people's daily activities. For mobile games, even people in their 40s and 50s enjoy several local-made mobile games, including Anypang and Candypang. As such, Korea has rapidly developed its video game industry and game culture, which are some of the most unique aspects representing IT. Korean digital culture. The surge of Korea's video games is the result of the interplay of growing infrastructure and favorable cultural policies in the current context. As Koreans are also heavy users of cutting-edge technologies, the local video game sphere will continue to grow. We're moving into online game culture. So the second major approach to Korean video game is broadly cultural studies. Several scholars have analyzed Korean online and mobile games in the conjunction with people's daily activities and youth culture. They addressed in the intricate relation between the social cultural factors in Korea video game communities and the context in which video games have become integrated into everyday life in Korea. As online gaming has been the largest and the most significant field in Korean video games, most of them focused on online games. However, several recent works emphasize the emerging role of mobile gaming culture. So there are several significant areas in online gaming culture, such as gaming player, esport, globalization, and PC-bound culture. As Korean youth in their teens and 20s have been the major users, studies of online game culture are mostly related to youth culture. Of course, online games have brought several negative aspects such as game addiction and bullying. Therefore, some scholars focused on the social issues embedded in online games. Most of all, the study Dalyung Jin conducted with Michael Brownie historicized the development of e-sport, starting in the early 1980s using three new conceptual frameworks. They identified e-sports as an accompaniment of the broader embryonic gamer culture, a hallmark of the experience economy concept, and as a succession of consumer practices. Stephen Ria also discussed the importance of place, time, and activity for a normative model of Korean digital gaming sociality, and implication that this has had been gamer whose behavior mark them as non-normative, and how discourses around digital games and socially inflected current evaluation of mobile gaming. By looking to the recent past of PC-based online gaming, Ree argues that people can better understand the social and cultural impact that mobile games are having in contemporary Korea. Through an analysis of PC-bang, Ree wanted to suggest that the quality of gaming sociality are pertinent to understanding Korean mobile gaming practices as well. Although mobile games offer different ways of coordinating place and time with respect to gaming, these factors remain salient not only for gaming experience but also for evaluations of normative gaming sociality, just as they have been for PC-based gaming. Such evaluation can sometimes have serious consequences for gamers whose behavior identified as non-normative. Enrollment in institutionalized disciplining the strategies and techniques designed to calibrate them with normative gaming sociality. Meanwhile, a study made a showcase of digital Hallyu with local online games. The study raised this question of whether digital culture has changed the Korean wave from originally focused culture flow to Western focused contra flow in the midst of a rapid growth of Korean wave. The study dealt with the Korean online game industry as an example of contra flow, while mapping out the process by which local online games are appropriate for Western game users through hybridization. As a reflection of several negative aspects that have emerged in Korean society, some scholars develop an ethnographic analysis of case studies derived from the field's work that was designed to consider the different ways of Korean game players establish community online and offline. The scholar considered ways Korean youth participated in activities at Korean computer game rooms, which could be thought of as third places. A synthesis of the Korean concept of wangja or bullying provides extra sight into the motivations for players to excel at digital games and one of the strong drivers of such community membership. Contrary to general media portrayal and popular belief, the scholar argued that the relatively elevated level of gaming in Korea was not due to the game. She found that a whole host of factors external to the game itself, such as the PC-bang in which it was played, had an active role in the promotion and popular play of old games such as StarCraft, a game that came out in 1998 and has lost in North America, the renowned popularity that is still enjoyed in Korea. Korea's unique history, limited geography area, and governmental support has encouraged the development of sophisticated broadband infrastructure. The study eventually provided a synthesis of Korean social issues of Wangta, which included the act of singling out one person in a group of bully. So let's look at the mobile game culture. Mobile gaming culture is accompanied with the sudden growth of smartphone era. Although there are several other tools, including tablets, people emphasize the smartphone as a major medium for mobile gaming, which has become a major game sector. There's a key concept in understanding mobile games in the local context. In the game of being mobile, that there's a synergy between two globally dominant industry, mobile communication and gaming, that has attracted much attention and stargazing in media culture of late. As part of the burgeoning global media culture, gaming and mobile media are divergent in their adaptation at the level of local. In some locations where broadband infrastructure is strong and collectively is emphasized, online multiplayer games prevail. In locations where convergent mobile technologies govern, such as Japan, mobile game platforms dominate. In order to address the uneven adoption and definition of mobile gaming, this work focused on the convergence between mobile technologies and gaming in the Asia Pacifics. There's one study done by Jin. He extended the realm of video game culture, exploring digital games through the lens of monetization by employing the core element of mediatization theory with specific reference to the mediatization of religion. The study attempts to understand how Buddhism-based digital media reflect religious philosophy, emphasizing nonviolence and meditation. The work discusses the mediatization of Buddhism in digital media, including video games, to analyze whether the nexus of these two different areas can develop a new type of mediatization, which is termed religious tainment, characterized as both entertaining and meditative. Meditative. The study eventually analyzed two digital media genres, movies and video games, and cultivated discourse in mapping out of the adaptation of using Hwang thought developed in Korea, which has been eloquently articulated in Hidden Do in digital media. The work then delivered a hybridization. In the study of gamification, it found that the users coped with everyday urban life by appropriating mobile apps and thus engaging with the gamification of mobile communication. Various mobile games have become popular add-on to smartphones and offer casual involvement in gaming in daily moments such as commuting, waiting, and meal times. Gamified communication practices may imply that smartphone-mediated communication redefines our world as gameful world, while urban space and agency constantly engage with gameplay. However, the seemingly gameful worlds that may empower certain casual gamers may conceal the hegemonic process in which mobile gamers are subject to existing power relations. As the number of smartphone users increases, mobile gamers are becoming more popular, expanding the mobile game market. Okay, so we have explored how digital media influence the perception of video games in South Korea and the critical factors of the outcomes and development of these online games. I hope the video was helpful in understanding the esports Korea. I will see you in the next video.